Everyone doing this week? So this is the first video of the week. I'm going to be posting a couple, I think. It depends how this first one goes. I hope everyone's doing well. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out on Slack. So what you're looking at now is a graph that I created with three regression models built in that I'm going to be sharing with you, a link, so that when you're doing regressions, you can just copy and paste these equations and type them into your own graph. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So this week on your slides, you will see that there's a check-in. Sorry, these are not the right ones. There's a check-in, which you already did. Then there's another check-in on the slide, which you'll be answering on Google Forms. And then we're going to be analyzing data for bacteria present on a Petri dish. So I've already entered that data here onto Desmos. Now, if you need, when you open a Desmos graph, you can just type in table, and a table will pop up. And now that I have the table there, so I typed in table, I went back and forth, and I copied this data down into my table, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that graph that Mr. Rogers sent me, well, myself, and I'm going to say to myself, well, let's try to make a linear regression for this data. So I'm going to copy and paste that equation here. Now notice I can't see my graph, so what I want to do now is change my scaling of my axes. So x, I'm going to go from like -2 to 6. My y-axis, -5 to 550. So we can see our data there. I'm going to change this to red so it's easy to see. Put this on projector mode. And then I ask myself, do we think a linear model is a good model for this data? And that's a question you'll be answering in the Google form. Maybe, maybe not. So maybe we try a different model. I go back to the sheet that I shared with you, and let's copy and paste the equation for an exponential regression. So there's the exponential regression. I'll do it in a different color. We'll do blue. And we can ask ourselves, is that a better fit, right? And then we can look. You'll notice that you get an R value here when you do a linear regression, but when you do an exponential or a quadratic regression, there is no R value or correlation coefficient because that correlation is only for linear models. So when it comes to nonlinear models, we have to use a visual judgment in order to make the call of which of these models is a better fit. So you'll see here, and then the last model we could try is a quadratic regression model if we'd like, but I'm just going to leave these two here for now. So hopefully this little video helps you in terms of like copying and pasting these regression models in your table. One of the things you have to notice to see here, the subscript for y is 1. So the subscript for all your regression models has to be 1. If I wanted to put a different regression model on here, you'll see I can change the subscript to 2. And then when I put my regression models in, if I wanted to do more than one on one graph, which you don't have to, I would change these to 2s. And then it would start giving me a linear regression for this table, since the subscript for this is 2 and the subscript for the table is 2. But we don't have to do that right now. So this is the first video. I'm going to make a couple more possibly. Please watch the videos as you're going through the lesson. They will help tremendously with understanding what the next steps are. Thanks.